Farfus has got to pick his game up here right away and attack these guys, while the BMW rear-wheel drive has got that advantage.
Red lights are on. Gabriele Tarquini pacing the field for this rolling start. In fact, Tarquini starting on the left-hand side of the track as the drivers see it, and immediately Farfus finds his way blocked by Genet. He's on the grass. You saw the BMW and all the Chevrolets trying really hard to get in amongst them. There's Genet. We're looking back from Tarquini, and Tarquini's got Ivan Muller going around his nose. No, he hasn't.
This is all going to get nasty.
It's Menu. Huff is the man who normally ends up in the gravel at the first corner.
It's one of the factory Seats off there in the gravel.
And that will be Rydell. That's Genet off as well, and Menu and Rydell.
Yeah, Menu's
and one of the BMWs right at the back. So
that was Boardman clobbering one of the Chevys as well.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. It's Tarquini, it's Muller, it's Montero. Tarquini runs out wide, and that's that loose tail end you're talking about. Look how high Mehdi Banani has got up. He's
had a blinding start.
And Boardman's ahead of Prio.
Boardman gave one of the Chevys a right hard hit there. I'm not quite sure which one it was.
Boardman is up from 20th place into 12th at the moment. So it must have been no, it was Menu, of course.
It was Menu that got tagged on the way. I'd like to see that again and see what happens.
Muller is in front and stays in front. Ivan Muller didn't take long, did he? Gets in front of Gabriele Tarquini halfway round lap 1. Well, Gabriele was in trouble right at the start, John, with the tail sweeping all over the place.
I think that must have been Alain Menu and Ricardo Rydell that ended up off, and Jordi Genet went out too, but I'm sure it was Rick Rydell, if we get another look at that.
It was, definitely, because he was the one at the back, wasn't he? And we saw Genet's car, so it was the only all-yellow one. Genet's car is in the Repsol colours, a much darker car, so it was Rydell that was off. So we lost Rydell and Menu.
Jörg Muller's had a blinding start as well. I mean, he's
where's
come
Augusto? There was a BMW off, and Farfus is in 11th, just ahead of
Jörg Muller started this race on 12th place. He's now up to 4th.
Portero's got ahead of Prio and now ahead of Boardman to move up to 12th. Prio is now down to 14th place. So going even worse for Andy Prio than he might have feared.
Top independent at the moment is Tom Coronel. And there's Menu and Rydell at the back there. It was definitely these two at turn 1.
Now look at the pace of the larders though, because Kirill Ladigan and Jaap van Lagen, who started on the back of the grid, are now 15th and 16th behind Tom Boardman. So that is a definite power advantage they've got over what they had before, because previously they were battling really hard to stay with the independents, and Van Lagen goes inside Ladigan.
I think what happened is these guys have taken advantage of everyone else tripping over themselves.
True.
And they've just threaded the needle, managed to get through, avoid all the drama, and it looks
Zanardi, and that was Engstler again. No, Poulsen, the other Engstler car, the other Liqui Moly car, and Zanardi and Poulsen making contact there. Alex thought he was clean through and swerved. In fact it wasn't. It was Engstler swerving to try and get tuck in behind Vito Postiglione, who was that other independent BMW.
So we have Ivan Muller from Tarquini from Montero. So 3 Seat, bump, bump, bump.
So what was I saying earlier? This won't be as dramatic as the Seat Leon Euro Cup race. You're kidding me. This is insane.
Tom Coronel up in 5th place. He's going well.
Yeah, Coronel 5th, Hernandez 6th, Stefano D'Aste and Mehdi Banani also in the points. That's 3 independents in the top 8, and Prio struggling down there in 12th behind Farfus 11th, Huff in 10th. These are all, well, Huff is a race winner.
The guy for me at the moment has just done a blinder.
Zanardi again. He's got Menu on one side,
and Rydell on the other.
Postiglione in front.
The guy for me at the moment, the man of the match, is Jörg Muller, to have come from where he did to end up 4th.
Absolutely.
It's a great result.
I'm not sure this is quieting down much. Look, Boardman's got the 2 larders all over him. Here's Engstler going by Postiglione. That is to be 5th, 6th only in the independents category.
I'm surprised that Alain Menu and Ricardo Rydell aren't making a great deal of headway.
There's nowhere to go. The track's full of metal. It's 3 BMWs wide in front of you.
I'm not sure I'd want to go anywhere near Alex Zanardi, because he can be a little bit of a loose cannon sometimes.
Show me a gap and I'll admit they should be going through it. Now then, Larini's made some ground on the outside of Banani. Now is Huff, and this is for 8th. This is for a point.
Banani is he's doing very well, considering that he started on the 9th row of the grid.
Yes, absolutely.
And he's got himself up to 8th place at the moment. This guy's he's a good little driver since the first time we saw him at Marrakesh.
Absolutely. Oh, but he makes a mistake there. Farfus goes through, holds Huff off. Prio's going through as well. Huff picks up Banani around the nose.
Get it here. Good catch.
Oh, what a shame. But now you're starting to see how the championship potential front runners and former champions are starting to get quite desperate already early on.
Well, Banani's in there. He's mixing it with the world's best touring car drivers.
Absolutely.
He's not shy at getting in there and giving them a hip and a shoulder.
No, he's getting stuck in, and that I'm not sure there was too much to worry about there between him and Huff. They were wheel to wheel through 2 corners.
That's just a racing incident.
Absolutely.
But it'd be interesting here to see how Andy and Farfus carry out this next sort of few laps.
Do you know what?
They should really work together and go forward.
Absolutely must. Huff's got a puncture, has he? Right front tyre down? We'll see if he comes into the pits or not. Well, he's down in 12th place, so he has lost a lot of ground.
No,
yes,
he's dropping all the time. Yeah.
So he's coming into the pit, so he is out. And that is a puncture. Now, watch Banani. Huff goes inside. Yeah, that's where the puncture got picked up.
Actually, it may well have done a little bit more than just a puncture.
Yeah, may well be.
See the car jump up?
Yep.
There's just a possibility maybe that's bent or broken a steering arm.
Yeah.
Rob's been lucky at this track only once. The rest of the time, yeah, that could be a steering arm bent on that.
I think Banani might have picked up a rear puncture as well, because he's dropping like a stone. Huff comes in. So let's have a look. Top 3 are all set. Ivan Muller pulling away. Montero's all over Tarquini, and I think Montero's got the quicker of the cars. Then Jörg Muller in 4th, Coronel in 5th still, ahead of Hernandez, Daste and Larini in the points. So only 6 championship runners in the points, 2 independents in there as well. Looking at Stefano Daste giving Sergio Hernandez a tough time. And Van Lagen drifts out wide. Oh, and is the car slowing? No, just a mistake by the driver. Dutchman gives a place back to Ladigin. 13th and 14th that was.
I saw a good battle in the midfield here, but the 3 in the front have disappeared really, and they've pulled a little buffer of 2 seconds on Jörg Muller. Yeah. Jörg needs to get his head down here and concentrate and get right on the back of these sets.
Well, Farfus and Prio here working their way up towards the back of their championship rivals. That was Nicola Larini. And John, the rear-wheel drive cars, particularly down there, that long looping corner 13 into 14, have got an advantage. Nicola didn't help himself there. He clearly saw Farfus coming, tried to eke out a little bit on the brakes, and in fact ended up giving the place away by just drifting offline. Yeah,
but you know, with a BMW, you can sort of take the brake into the corner with them, whereas with the front-wheel drive car, if you take too much brake on one of these things, you can't really turn in and catch the apex, and I think that's really what happened to Nick at that point.
Rob Huff has been handed a drive-through penalty just to make sure that his day gets a little bit worse. I have to say, I'm not entirely sure.
I'm not convinced about that. I'd like to see that again and then pass comment on it, but I just thought that was a racing incident. There was nowhere. Banani was on the grass. You know, Rob was trying to go round about him. I'm not convinced.
And in fact, Banani had been tapped out wide as Farfus went by. The back end of Farfus's car tapped Banani out wide. He tried to come back in. Rob was already committed to being on the inside of him, and the corner was going left, and they were drifting out right. I have to say, I saw that as a racing incident. I'm glad you did too.
We'll have to wait and have another look at it. It's amazing what the camera angles show sometimes.
Yes, yes.
We didn't quite see it all right, but never mind. He's got to drive through, and there's nothing we can do about that.
Oh my goodness me! Gabriele Tarquini gives away second place. That rear end is not stable. It was loose on lap 1, and it is still loose. He's got a problem.
Like he's got a problem. The back of the car's all over the place.
Well, there's no air lost out of that tyre, which means that the suspension is broken. It is self-steering.
Either that, or he's been off somewhere slightly, and he's got rubbish on the back tyres.
Look at that. That is certainly self-steering. That's not what you need.
Somebody been chewing on the back bumper of Farfus's BMW there. I wonder if that was Andy that gave him a slap.
Might have been. He got in front of Nicola Larini. Let's have a look at the battle here. Kirill Ladigin, Mehdi Banani. And as you say, Banani absolutely not worried in the slightest by, you know, the prestige or anything else. Gets his sleeves rolled up, gets stuck in. He took the place from Zanardi there.
That's obviously quite worrying for Ricardo Rydell, that he's being hounded by a ladder And Rick will not be wanting to look in the mirror there.
Farfus up ahead of Hernandez. That's into 6th place. Tom Coronel will be his next target, but Prio has got stuck behind Stefano D'Aste. Prio will come through. D'Aste will move aside and let him if he's got any sense at all, because he's not fighting Prio. Okay, the overall points are very handy in the independence battle as well, but his main focus has got to be staying where he is ahead of the next independent BMW, and that's the blue and white one behind Larini. That's Felix Portero, who's down in 11th.
But it's more important for Andy to get himself up from 9th to 8th here, and then maybe just go nowhere else. He's got Larini behind him and Portero. Portero, I don't think will be a problem. Nick will want to get that front row slot for race 2, but Andy's got to, I'm sure he will, I'm sure he's got the pace to just get past D'Aste here.
Well, Prio's only 6th in the championship. He's 19 points behind Ivan Muller, but you know, Andy's age-old adage, which has worked at least 3 times in the last 4 seasons, is that you have got to take every point. If you're an 8th, you have got to try and get 7th. At the moment, he needs somebody to go down to the Vika Sport BMW team and slap the team manager around the head and say, get that independent BMW out of the way and let the factory car through. And again, Bernani...
Well, they're all racing each other, so I mean, he's trying... Well, he's just gone off on his own.
Yes, but he then comes dangerously back onto the track with rubbish all over the tyres. Prio was in more danger there than if he hadn't gone off. Nonetheless, Prio is now into 8th, chasing Sergio Hernandez, and he will take him for 7th if he can.
Jörg Müller, if Rick, what do you call him? If Tarquini has got a problem with the rear of this car, then Jörg could be on his back bumper quite quickly.
Ladigan's got trouble. Zanardi's gone by him. Ricard Rydell has gone by him.
Quite badly.
Smoking. Oh, and Rydell's gone right off. It's dropping something very heavy. Ladigan's got to pull off. I thought I saw flames out of the bottom of it.
No, it's about to throw its lunch out.
Yeah, I think it has. Oh, and there you go, that's inside Hernandez. That was Prio's bumper cam. That is for 7th place. Told you he'd try, and he has, up to 7th. Now, Andy, since Poe and all of that drama, has relaxed and chilled out. He and Joe and the kids have been travelling around Europe. They spent a few days in Euro Disney. They've been down to the Mediterranean, been swimming in the south of France on their way down here. So they've had a fortnight just chilling out, some half-term time off with the kids last week. Come here in a much more relaxed frame of mind. But the red mist, or the determination, his tail is really up. He's had a really tough start to this race, but now he's up into 7th place. Farfus in front of him.
We're only halfway through this race as well, so there's lots could go on. It's all for a circuit that's historically been very difficult to overtake on. There seems to be plenty of overtaking going on at the minute.
Maybe they were watching the Seat Euro Cup race and have gone, really? You can overtake here? Come on, let's have a go at this. Well, there's the family. There's Joe. So let's have it. Ivan Muller still leads, 1.8 seconds ahead of Thiago Montero. Tarquini still hanging on in 3rd. Jörg Müller, though, 0.75 behind. What are we looking at here? The replay of the start. That's Farfus going through with Janae trying to hold him off. Farfus made such a good start.
Yeah, but behind him, on the other side of the track, Jörg Müller has made an equally blinding start and is coming around the outside of everyone.
And Menu got tapped from behind into the first corner by Rydell. And then Rydell gets shuffled off in the mix as well. And whose bumper cam is this? Prio's.
And that's Farfus.
I sense gravel coming. Oh. Yep. Ran into the back of Alex Zanardi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars go by him. That's what happened to Andy. Goodness me. We haven't seen a first corner like that since, last year when we were in Valencia. Tom Boardman just ahead of Mehdi Bernani. Now what's this? This is 4th in the independence category. Felix Portero is a long way up the road in front of them. Alex Zanardi is right behind. They're 12th, 13th and 14th.
Ricardo Rydell just trying to pull a move here on Alain.
This is for 15th place. Rydell in the same sort of position that the Seats were in last weekend in Po. But the other 3 out front. As Vito Postiglione runs out of talent midway through the corner and Marin Kolak slips by. So there's the gap. Muller's got over Montero. Kirill Ladigan's car has truly lunched itself. Jordi Janet's going to need to rebuild the suspension.
That could struggle for the second race.
Well, no, because they've got the rest of this race. They're going to take it out of Parc Fermé. There's luckily a Formula 2 race between now and race 2. So actually, in terms of hours, they've got a couple of hours to repair it. So it should be all right. Tom Coronel, incidentally, you saw him there in 5th. More independent Seat battling.
Bernani's going to get the upper hand here. And, Zanardi that's in the mix.
Yes, it is. Alex Zanardi behind them, and this is 13th, 14th and 15th. Banani is... 12th, 13th and 14th. Banani now 12th.
And then Ricardo Rydell's in there, and then the two Chevrolets of Menu. And the second one must... Who's the second Chevrolet there?
That must be Rob Huff.
It must be Huff coming back out.
Yeah, because that's Nick Larini, who is in 10th, just ahead of Felix Portero. And you sense, actually, maybe not for much longer. Portero's independent BMW has not been shy in getting in the top 8. Larini drifts offline. There's the advantage of not having your front tyres wearing out so much on a BMW as on a front-wheel drive car.
Nick just missed the apex there. He just let it slide too far out. And when you get that, you miss the apex by 3 feet like that, you just get on the marbly bits, the little bits of rubber, and then you've just got no chance of pulling it back. So that was a mistake from Nick.
Well, we saw that in corner 14, didn't we, where he got out-braked as well down at the bottom of the track. Tom Coronel still in 5th place. Tom Boardman there is in the black car. Right in front of him is Rydell now. So Rydell has picked up 3 places in this lap, and Boardman's just been shuffled down the pack. And here come Menu and Huff. Well, Huff's not actually going to take a place from Boardman because he's a lap behind the independent as well. Well, they go through. The Chevrolets both past Tom Boardman. So Menu genuinely goes past him, and that will put Boardman down to 16th. He was 12th a lap and a half ago.
Yeah, he's had a bit of an introduction to this track.
I'm not sure all his body panels will be quite as straight as they were. He certainly has been shuffled back down the pack. Banani, though, again having a really enterprising race. Well, Boardman drifting out wide there, getting a little tap from Zanardi. Rydell getting through as well. So Zanardi has hit more people than he's missed, I would think, in this race.
But interestingly, Jörg Müller is not really making an effort here. I don't think he's not really getting on the back of Tarquini.
He's certainly not,
and he's coming under huge pressure from Coronel. He's
not making up any ground. He was 0.7 seconds behind Tarquini a couple of laps ago. He's now 1.1. So Tarquini, Montero and Muller, the top 3, are definitely lapping quicker than the BMWs. Farfus has got a bit stuck as well in 6th because he's stuck behind Coronel, and Prio is stuck behind Farfus, and Hernandez isn't going any further up the order either. So the BMWs have made the use perhaps of their early race advantage, and now can't argue with the turbo diesels in terms of front running pace.
But he's not far away. But if you just get on the back end of that, maybe if Gabrielli has got a slight problem with the rear of the car, if he gets close enough to him and just give him a bit of hassle, he could get a podium result here. But I'm not sure he's close enough to be doing that.
Sergio Hernandez in the white BMW here with the yellow and red colours, as opposed to the yellow and red BMW with the white colours of Stefano D'Aste. This is the battle for 8th, and Hernandez needs to just be a little cautious, because although D'Aste is an independent, he can add to his points haul by getting into the main championship. It's worth 3 points to him in the championship race. And don't forget that Stefano D'Aste lost last year's championship independent trophy battle to the man he's chasing, Sergio Hernandez, by a couple of points at the end of the season. So he knows that it's vital to get in front if he can. Now, we saw Christian Poulsen in the pit lane. He's obviously very upset about something. We saw him being fired off early.
But this little battle for 8th place has actually got quite a significance because of the reverse grid for the second race. So
right.
Between Hernandez and D'Aste, they're going to want that 8th slot regardless.
I tell you what, we're now on lap 11 of 13. There could still be a lot of changes, maybe even for the podium. It's not beyond the bounds of possibility still. Jörg Müller's pulled in half a second on Tarquini on the last lap. It's not beyond 6/10 nearly. It's not beyond the bounds of possibility. We might get a BMW on the podium. Then there's Coronel, Farfus, Prio, and then there's Hernandez and D'Aste for 8th place. So there could be a lot of changes, and I'm not entirely sure that Coronel is going to hang on all the way. This is sort of shades of Japan, isn't it? Coronel last lap ahead of Farfus in the rain, the BMW catching hand over fist, and Coronel going on to win outright in that Seat.
Farfus and Prio are actually the fastest cars in that last lap, so they're sucking into the back end of Tom Coronel here.
And Hernandez, good move.
Farfus
in the background, Hernandez really under pressure in corner 1. I think D'Aste is going to make a move into corner 2 in the background. Didn't quite get close enough. So Farfus is up to 5th place. Coronel down to 6th.
Hernandez is still in front of D'Aste.
Just held on, yes. D'Aste was all over him at the end of the front straight, though. 2 more laps of that, and I'm not sure that Hernandez is going to hold on necessarily. Good move. And did Coronel fight that? I don't think he did completely.
I think Tom gave him the corner.
Yeah.
He could see him coming, and he just, I think, gave him.
Yeah, he was online. He braked a little early because actually for him, 6th place is pretty much as good as 5th place. It puts him 3rd for race 2. Let's not be thinking he was giving anything away for nothing. He's nobody's fool. 8th place battle. This is for pole in race 2. And that carpet is not staying put very much. It was the cause of an accident in the Formula Master race.
Andy Prio going at half a second a lap faster than everyone else at the moment.
Well, Sergio Hernandez and Stefano D'Asti still duffing each other up. We saw them doing this all last year in blue and white protein BMWs when they were both battling for the independence category. There's Umberto Grano and Roberto
Ravaglia in the background,
watching with very great anticipation to see whether Sergio Hernandez, their driver there, can finish in 8th and start race 2 from pole, and with a standing start, very likely have a good shot at winning.
Well, it's a rear-wheel drive BMWs always historically start well from a standing start, better than the front-wheel drive car, so that's a good place for him to start.
Rydell inside Bernani, and I have to say again, almost at every race weekend this season, the petrol engine Seat Leon looks just about as competitive overall as it needs to be. The turbo diesel, apart from Poe, has had an advantage over everything else, but the petrol engine Seat Leon, even though they're all driven by independents, they're very, very competitive. Bernani was on the podium in Marrakesh, a track that nobody had ever seen before. And, you know, Coronel has got every chance of finishing on the podium here. But also, so has Jörg Müller. And maybe now, all that pressure on the tyres of Gabriele Tarquini might pay dividends for the BMW driver. Prio goes by Coronel, and again, Tom allowing him the place in exactly the same spot, I think.
Well, the fastest car in the last few laps has been Andy Prio, but he's struggling a little bit to get right on the back of Tom Coronel here.
Tarquini is going to have to be really scrupulously clean with his line here, isn't he? Or Muller is going to just gobble him up on the last
But at least with
lap.
Jörg, you know Jörg's not going to punt you off, because he's a pretty fair driver. He's one of the fairer BMW guys.
If the positions were reversed, I'm not sure you could necessarily argue the same.
Definitely not. I mean, Jörg is a sort of bloke, he's a sort of BMW driver you would take a lift to the pub with.
Yeah,
there's a few of them I wouldn't.
So Van Muller leads on to the final lap, 2.3 ahead of Thiago Montero. We are arguing about 3rd place between Tarquini and Jörg Müller. There's Augusto's and Jörg's girlfriend and wife, Augusto's wife and Jörg's girlfriend watching. They are 4th and 5th at the moment, but can Jörg take 3rd place from Gabriele Tarquini? Boardman battling with Engstler. That's for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, 6th place in the Indies category. Yes, gets in front of Tom. And again, BMW versus front-wheel drive car battle. Boardman's still got great traction on the exit, so there's not too much wrong with his tyres. And again, using all those curves, as we saw this morning, John, and our safety car laps, they are very flat. They're built for motorcycles, not to throw riders off.
Well, Andy Prio again on that lap was faster by 0.3 of a second than everyone else. The next fastest was Farfus, and Farfus has got the magnets on the back end of Jörg's car.
Here we go again with Jörg. Tarquini's bumper cam shows that Jörg is getting very close indeed. Ivan Muller's going to win it. Montero's going to be 2nd. Who is going to be 3rd? If Tarquini gets wide, he could lose a position to all 3 BMWs in one corner.
Only thing up through here, there's very little chance of one corner to go now.
Last corner, it's downhill.
Downhill, not easy.
Off camber, it's the worst for the turbo diesel Seat, but Muller's not close enough. Ivan Muller is going to win here. He took pole but did not win last year. One of the BMWs pulls off and slows right down. Jörg Muller's going for 8th place in race 1. 2nd place for Thiago Montero, 3rd for Tarquini, Farfus 4th, Prio 5th. Jörg Muller has slowed right down, and Tom Coronel takes 6th place. Does Muller blow up?
No, he jumped.
Pan to the right, cameraman.
He jumped on the brakes to make sure he got 8th place for the second race.
Well, he didn't. He got 6th position. He was trying to let Coronel go through. Tom was slowing down as well, knowing that Hernandez wasn't going to run up his backside too soon. So there was a bit of after you, Claude, going on there.
A bit of brinksmanship with
Absolutely.
He got